All right, let's dive in. Today, we're tackling Nikola Tesla. Our listeners sent in some really interesting stuff about him, and, well, I gotta admit, I'm pretty hyped to see what makes this guy such a legend.
Yeah, it is pretty fascinating, isn't it? He wasn't always like a household name the way he is now.
Right.
So we're going to unpack that, explore his life, his work, and especially, that whole war of currents thing with Edison.
Oh, yeah, that's the part I'm really curious about.
Yeah.
Sounds like a total battle for the future of, well, electricity itself.
It was.
But before we get into that clash of the titans, maybe we should start at the beginning.
Sure.
Tesla's early life, I mean, some of this stuff seems almost unbelievable.
Yeah.
Born back in 1856 in what's now Croatia.
You know what always gets me? The childhood stories, they're remarkable. Like near photographic memory, this ability to visualize inventions.
Wow.
Like so, clearly he said it was like they were working right there in his mind.
I mean, that's a level of mental power I can only dream of. Was that visualization skill, was that key to how he actually invented?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it let him work through these super complex problems, design intricate systems all in his head long before, pen to paper.
Wow.
But of course, his fascination with electricity, I mean, that was the driving force.
Why? Right, and that fascination ultimately led him to America and straight into, like, Thomas Edison's orbit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where things get really interesting with the whole war of currents. Right?
Exactly. Tesla arrived in the U.S. in 1884, full of ambition, ideas. He even worked for Edison briefly, who at the time was already famous for his direct current electrical system.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
But Tesla had a different vision.
He did?
He believed alternating current, AC, was the way forward.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just like a personality clash. It was a fundamental disagreement about the technology.
Exactly. Edison was all about DC, which was, effective for small areas.
Right.
But it was inefficient over long distances. Tesla, on the other hand, he saw AC's potential. You could step it up to high voltages for transmission, then step it down for safe use in homes and businesses.
So even back then, AC was, like, clearly more efficient for powering entire cities.
Mm-hmm.
So why was there so much resistance?
Well, Edison had invested heavily in DC, not just financially, but his reputation was on the line.
Oh.
And unfortunately, this led him to employ some, let's say, questionable tactics to discredit AC.
This is where those stories come in about Edison, like publicly electrocuting animals
Sadly.
to make AC seem dangerous.
Yeah, there's that infamous story of him using AC to execute an elephant.
Wow.
And he called it Westinghousing, after George Westinghouse, Tesla's partner who was backing AC.
Wow.
It was a very deliberate attempt to instill fear, really.
Wow, that's pretty ruthless. But in the end, Tesla's AC system won out, right?
It did.
And that victory basically shaped the entire electrical grid that, we rely on today.
It was a defining moment, for sure. Despite all of Edison's efforts, AC proved to be superior, more efficient, cost-effective, capable of powering vast areas.
Yeah.
But this war of currents, it wasn't just about the technology, though, was it?
No, I guess not. It sort of reveals something about their personalities, too, right?
It does.
Like the different approaches to innovation.
Exactly. Edison, he was a shrewd businessman, brilliant at marketing and, making his inventions commercially successful.
Right.
Tesla, though, more of an idealist, driven by scientific curiosity, really wanting to benefit humanity. And he often prioritized progress over profit, which, wasn't always the best business strategy.
Yeah, and that's kind of demonstrated in that story about the broken promise, right?
Right.
Where Edison offered Tesla a huge reward for improving his DC generators.
Yeah, $50,000, which back then was a fortune.
Right. But when Tesla delivered, Edison just claimed it was a joke.
It perfectly sums up their contrasting approaches. And it highlights, I think, a recurring theme in Tesla's life. Despite his genius, he often struggled to gain the recognition and the financial success that he deserved.
It does seem unfair that, the man who basically revolutionized how we use electricity wasn't set for life.
You would think, right.
But even while this war of currents was raging, Tesla, he was already on to his next groundbreaking invention, right? The Tesla coil.
Yes. He was fascinated by these high-frequency currents, electromagnetic fields, the Tesla coil, which produces those spectacular high-voltage arcs. It was born out of this fascination.
Yeah, those arcs always seem like something out of a science fiction movie to me.
But they are pretty dramatic.
But there was a deeper scientific purpose to them, right?
Absolutely. The Tesla coil wasn't just about spectacle. It was a tool for exploration.
Right.
He used it to study wireless power transmission, radio communication, even X-rays.
So even back then, he was already working on wireless power.
Oh, yeah.
And not just, like, to light a bulb across the room, but on a much grander scale.
You're catching on. Electrifying cities wasn't enough for Tesla. His dream was to electrify the world wirelessly.
Wow.
Imagine energy just transmitted through the air, freely available to everyone, everywhere.
That sounds kind of utopian.
It was a utopian vision, perhaps, but
Right.
one rooted in, his deep understanding of electromagnetism.
And this is where his famous Wardenclyffe Tower project comes in, right?
Yes.
This massive structure on Long Island
Yeah.
designed to transmit power wirelessly.
Across vast distances.
Yeah. That was his attempt to make that dream a reality, wasn't it?
It was.
It really captures the scale of his ambition.
Yeah, Wardenclyffe, this massive tower meant to, beam power across the globe.
Yeah.
But sadly, despite some initial backing from financier J.P. Morgan, the project ultimately failed. A lack of understanding and, of course, funding led to its demise.
There's another setback for Tesla.
Yeah.
But it's still amazing to think that, like, the very idea of wireless charging, something we just take for granted today, goes all the way back to him.
Think about how you charge your phone wirelessly.
Yeah.
That's a direct echo of Tesla's work at Wardenclyffe.
Wow, that's amazing.
But, even as this project was kind of faltering Tesla's mind, it was already teeming with new ideas,
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's hard to imagine him having time for anything else with these massive projects going on.
He wasn't just focused on electricity,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What else was he working on?
Well, this is where we get into some of the more fascinating, I think, and lesser-known aspects of Tesla's work.
Okay.
He held over 300 patents,
Wow, that's a lot.
covering a staggering range of fields, electrical and mechanical engineering, radio transmission. He even had early concepts for robotics.
Hold on, robotics.
Yeah.
Back in Tesla's time.
Yeah.
It seems incredibly ahead of his time, even for him.
In the late 1890s, he demonstrated a remote-controlled boat. He called it a teleautoton. Essentially, a very early prototype of a robot, capable of being controlled wirelessly.
So a remote-controlled boat in the 1890s.
Yeah. Pretty mind-blowing, huh?
I mean, that must have seemed like pure magic to people back then.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
But it was more than just, like, a spectacle, right?
Exactly.
There's a deeper purpose.
Tesla was demonstrating the very principles of wireless control and automation,
I see.
concepts that underpin, modern robotics and even artificial intelligence.
So while he's busy electrifying the world,
Right.
he's also laying the foundation for technologies that would, like, shape the future in entirely new ways.
That's Tesla for you.
It makes you wonder what he could have achieved with, more support.
It does make you think.
Yeah.
Despite his genius and far-reaching vision, Tesla often struggled financially and lived a fairly solitary life,
Really?
especially in his later years.
It's kind of sad to think about,
Yeah.
considering how much he contributed to the world.
Yeah.
He deserved more recognition during his lifetime.
A lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
It's a common sentiment.
Yeah.
The man who helped electrify our world died in 1943 at the age of 86, alone in a modest New York City hotel room, largely forgotten by the public. It's a stark contrast to the widespread recognition he receives today.
It's almost poetic, isn't it? Like this incredible rise to fame after decades of being overlooked.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, his name is everywhere now. Cars, energy companies.
Right.
There's even a unit of magnetic field strength named after him.
Yeah, it's remarkable, this resurgence, fueled by, I think, a growing awareness of his contributions.
Yeah.
But there's also, something about his personality that captures our imagination,
Yeah, like he was more than just a scientist.
Right. The eccentric inventor, the visionary ideas, the battles against the establishment.
Yeah.
It all adds to his mystique.
He's almost like a mythical figure now.
Yeah.
But beyond the myth, what makes Tesla so relevant today, over 80 years after his death?
That's a crucial question.
Yeah.
And I think his enduring relevance lies in several things,
Oh,
First, his story is a reminder that true innovation often comes from those who think differently,
okay.
who challenge conventions and aren't afraid to, push boundaries.
He was the ultimate example of someone not afraid to dream big,
Exactly.
even if those dreams seemed impossible at the time.
Yeah, and that's an incredibly important lesson for anyone, I think, who wants to make a real impact.
Right.
Second, even if we don't always realize it, Tesla's inventions are woven into the fabric of our modern world,
It's true.
from the electricity that powers our homes to the wireless technologies that connect us. His influence is all around us.
Yeah, and of course there's his vision of a future powered by clean, sustainable energy,
Oh,
a
absolutely.
vision that resonates even more strongly today.
As we grapple with climate change and the need for renewable energy sources, Tesla's ideas about, harnessing the power of nature,
Yeah,
it all seems remarkably prescient. It's as if he was sending us a message from the past,
a message of hope.
a message of hope and possibility.
Yeah, a reminder that we have the power to create a better future if we're just bold enough to embrace, unconventional ideas.
I think that's right.
But Tesla wasn't just about grand visions. He was a prolific inventor with a wide range of interests,
He was.
and not all of them were met with success.
That's right, and that's what makes exploring his life so compelling. There are still mysteries and controversies surrounding some of his work, particularly in his later years.
Mysteries and controversies, huh?
Oh.
Always love a good mystery, especially when it comes to someone like Tesla.
Yeah.
So what are some of the biggest unanswered questions about his work?
Well, I think one of the most enduring mysteries, it surrounds his later years, specifically, his research at Wardenclyffe. While the official purpose, was wireless power transmission, there are some who believe Tesla was working on something even more radical.
Yeah, I've heard some pretty wild theories about Tesla's later work. Some say he was trying to, tap into the Earth's energy. Others claim he was, attempting to communicate with other planets. Is there any truth to these speculations?
Well, it's hard to say for certain. Sadly, you see, a lot of Tesla's research notes and documents from that period, they were lost or destroyed.
Oh, wow.
And, this has fueled speculation.
Yeah.
But without concrete evidence, it's really tough to separate fact from fiction.
That's such a shame. It's like a missing chapter in this, captivating story. But even without all the details, I mean, these theories really highlight Tesla's, boundless imagination. He was always pushing the limits of what was considered possible.
Yeah, and that's what makes him such a compelling figure. But it also, leads to controversy. Some of Tesla's claims, especially about the potential of wireless power and, his alleged inventions like a death ray,
Oh, yeah.
they've been met with, well, let's just say, skepticism from the scientific community.
So was he a misunderstood genius?
Mhm.
Or was there a bit of a, mad scientist element to him as
Yeah.
well?
Well, that's the question that, continues to fascinate people. The
Yeah.
truth, I think, probably lies somewhere in between. I mean, there's no doubt Tesla was brilliant, but his unconventional methods and his bold pronouncements, they often put him at odds with the scientific establishment of his time.
It seems like a classic case of being ahead of his time, right?
Ah.
His ideas were so radical, so far removed from the prevailing scientific thought that it's understandable why some people struggle to take him seriously.
It's true, but that same unconventionality,
Yeah.
that's part of what makes him so captivating. He was a true original, a maverick who dared to challenge the status quo and dream big, even if it meant, facing ridicule and opposition.
Yeah, totally.
Oh.
Thinking back on everything we've discussed, what are the biggest takeaways from Tesla's life and work? I mean, what can we learn from this enigmatic genius?
I think there are several crucial lessons we can glean from Tesla's journey.
Okay.
First, his story reminds us that we should never underestimate the power of imagination and the
No.
courage to pursue, unconventional ideas. Tesla envisioned a future that most people dismissed as fantasy.
Yeah.
But, many of his concepts are now becoming reality.
It's like he was leaving us a roadmap, right?
Yes.
For a more sustainable, technologically advanced world.
Exactly.
He just happened to write that roadmap a century ahead of time.
100 years ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Second, Tesla's life, it teaches us the value of perseverance and resilience.
Okay.
He faced countless setbacks and obstacles, but he never gave up on his dreams.
It shows us that failures and setbacks, They're not the opposite of success, but rather, stepping stones on the path towards it.
Yeah.
And that, even the most brilliant minds, they have to navigate challenges and disappointments.
That's right. And finally, I think Tesla's legacy encourages us to think critically and challenge, the accepted norms. He wasn't afraid to question conventional wisdom and push the boundaries of, scientific understanding, even when it meant facing opposition.
So in a way, Tesla's, the spirit of innovation
Hmm.
is something that lives within all of us.
I think so.
Like, we all have the capacity to be visionaries, to imagine a better future, and to work towards making those dreams a reality.
I love that thought. I think it captures the essence of Tesla's lasting impact. He wasn't just an inventor, he was a dreamer, a symbol of human ingenuity, and a reminder that even the seemingly impossible can be achieved with enough passion and dedication.
This has been an incredible journey into the world of Nikola Tesla.
It,
We've explored his triumphs, his struggles, his revolutionary inventions, and the enduring mysteries that continue to surround him.
yeah, he was a fascinating guy.
What's clear is that his legacy, it's far from over, right?
His ideas, they continue to spark our imaginations, inspire us to push the boundaries of what's possible in science and technology. Who knows what other wonders and insights await us as we continue to explore the life and work of this enigmatic genius.
Yeah, it's a question that invites further exploration. And hopefully, this deep dive has provided a springboard for our listener to continue uncovering the secrets of Nikola Tesla. Thanks for joining us.